So, I'm gonna be 100% honest with you all. I did not write a script for this video. I decided not to on purpose because I feel like it would have been more authentic for me to just get my thoughts out. So, this video might come across as a bit messy, but I think that's part of the charm. I kind of like videos like that, anyways. So, you can probably already tell just by listening to my voice, I'm a very naturally quiet person, and growing up I've always had really bad social anxiety. And it started when I was really young. I want to say when I was around 4. And having social anxiety not only affected my ability to make friends, but just my general stance in the world, if that makes sense. Even in nerdy spaces, I just felt very out of place because of how quiet I was. And still am. I'm still a very shy person. I don't really interact much, even now that I'm in college. Even outside of social anxiety, in middle school, I was diagnosed with general anxiety, OCD, and mild depression. When it came to school, I did struggle a lot, particularly in math. I have a learning disability in math, and I just noticed that generally I feel like my brain worked a lot slower compared to the other students because it was harder for me to understand certain concepts and information, and I noticed that that's something that I still struggle with even in college sometimes. My relationship with my mom was very complicated. We would argue very often, like almost every day. It got to the point where I didn't even want to live in the same household as her anymore. It was really bad. And even though I think our relationship has gotten better now that I'm in college, there are some days where I wish we didn't spend so much time arguing now that she's, gotten sicker and older. I forgot to mention, my mom and my dad divorced when I was 7, moved away when I was 8, so I mainly lived with my mom and my brother for most of my life, and my older brother had his own set of problems. We wouldn't really get along either. Despite the fact that I still had social anxiety, I knew that I still really wanted friends, so I would try to get myself out there by going online, which was a really bad idea because people online tend to be a lot meaner, I guess. And I know that's something that's to be expected. You can't really change that. But some of the things that people would say to me in the situations I ended up in online still really affected my mental health. On top of the terrible relationship I had with my mom and my brother, on top of not having a lot of friends, and on top of suffering from OCD and intrusive thoughts, and just generally feeling very unfit in this world. Needless to say, I was very tired of just everything, and for my 17th birthday, on the train ride home, I had possibly the hardest cry of my life. I've cried because of my situations before, but it was nothing like that. I wouldn't really consider myself a professional or very competitive gamer. And honestly, I'm not very good at video games at all, but one of the ways that I would cope from my everyday life was through media consumption, such as watching animated movies, cartoons, or playing video games. And one of those video games was Kingdom Hearts. Kingdom Hearts popped up in my life during a time where I was really struggling, and as someone who is still struggling with a lot of mental health issues, Kingdom Hearts, in a way, has been my escape. And I'm not the only one. I've come across a lot of stories online about how Kingdom Hearts has helped a lot of people during a time where they were really struggling with something in their lives. And everyone has their own reasons why, but I think the reason why I was so drawn to Kingdom Hearts specifically was because, just for a lot of reasons, honestly. Even though I first started playing Kingdom Hearts in high school, it still gave me that sense of joy and wonder I had when I was little. and didn't have as much mental health problems as I do now. And I don't care what anyone says, I love the cheesiness of Kingdom Hearts. It's very charming. As a kid, I used to be a really big maladaptive daydreamer, and I had a really big imagination. But during my middle and high school years, when I first started showing signs of depression, I think Kingdom Hearts has helped me become more imaginative again, even during my struggles. To be honest, I can't really think of a definitive answer, but something about Kingdom Hearts just makes me really happy, and I'm really appreciative of that. As a part of my OCD and having intrusive thoughts, I tend to overthink a lot, and I guess that also contributed to my social anxiety in a way, because I can just never talk normally to people without stuttering, and because of how nervous I can be, I end up having these really awkward mannerisms. And because of that, I've been called weird a couple of times. And I know that when it comes to shy people, people always say, oh, like, just talk, it's not as hard as it seems. But when you've always grown up as a really shy person, and you've always been perceived as really weird or awkward because of that, it's kind of hard to break out of that shell, if that makes sense. It really is as hard as it seems. And when I somehow did get the courage to speak up, I always ended up embarrassing myself because I never experienced being a very extroverted, talkative person. It's really hard for me to be articulate. I've never really had great conversational skills, and it's led to a lot of awkward and embarrassing conversations with people, and it's why I don't speak up in class. I know it's a little ironic considering how Kingdom Hearts is a story with such a heavy emphasis on friendship, and I'm more of an independent, lonely person with not a lot of friends. But I still found myself immersed in the Kingdom Hearts story, and the friendships that the characters had with each other. I was a little hesitant about posting this video because I was afraid of being made fun of, but I thought to myself, it's really important for me to have this conversation about mental health because someone else could stumble across this video and they could be struggling with similar issues as me, and I just want you all to know that you're not alone and it's okay. Even though I don't think the topic of mental health is as taboo as it was like maybe 30, 50 years ago, I think it's still kind of a hesitant subject people want to speak up about because just of how sensitive it is. But I think it's really important to have open discussions about it because I think it helps people who are struggling really badly with their mental health. I think it could help them feel less alone, and in some ways I think it could also help us become more connected in that way.